Is this the smartest Bluetooth padlock on the market? Let's have a look. Dave Taylor here, and I'm looking at this. It's pretty cool. This is the Igloohome Bluetooth Padlock, and they just came out with it on the market. So Igloohome has been really trying to figure out that middle ground between padlocks and locks and security and Airbnb. So they'd spend a lot of time looking at how do you get remote codes, how do you set up access, how do you do timers on access. So I actually have an Igloohome lock on my back door, similar sort of design. This one, of course, is a padlock. Now here's the thing, there have been a couple of companies coming out with smart padlocks and they've had issues. So one of the great things about Igloohome is they've learned from everyone else. So this gives you access control, you have multiple shackles, you can buy this longer one, it's 15 bucks, pretty painless. And you know, really everything works with the mobile app. But before we get there, I want to just show you a couple of things. First off is that it does have a battery. There is a compartment in the back for the battery. And if you have this special thing, you can open it, right? Well, not exactly. So I fit this in and it doesn't actually open because the lock is locked. So they've thought that through, because I know that on some of their competitors, one of the complaints people have is you can pop the back, you can take the battery out, and now you can actually go and monkey with it. This doesn't let you do that. Instead, you have to use the app. So let's get this app rolling. Let's see if I can find it. Here we are. So let me go ahead and I'm going to actually record what I'm doing so you'll be able to see in the inset. So here I am, I'm in the Igloohome app. And you can see I have garage door and I've called my padlock Paddy. Seems like a good name for a padlock. And first thing you can do is, since it's a Bluetooth lock, I can just unlock it. And it's unlocked. So now I can obviously put it on something, but more importantly, notice now that I actually can access the back. Assuming I can get this in. And so now I could actually go and put in a new battery as needed. See? So, you know, that's also how you actually change the shackles if you want to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just close this back up and get this lock back into a good space. Oops, that is not how to do that. Stand by, you know, live demo and all that. So let's see. There we go. I see how it's a counter screw. You have to do it the other way. But so now we have it, it's open, and of course I can close it. But here's what makes this really interesting is that it has all sorts of access codes and different kinds of access you could set. So here I only have access for myself, but let's go ahead and add something. I'm going to go ahead and add, you can see there are 4 choices. I could do a permanent pin, which is someone and that'll always be in access, or we can do what's called a duration pin. So again, this is the Airbnb model. Maybe I just want to have something where it's just for the week that you've rented the house. This is going to give you access to the storage shed with the bikes or something like that. I can do a one-time pin, and I can also send someone a Bluetooth key. Now, let's do a one-time pin just to see how that works. And so now I'm going to give it a name. We'll call it 1. I know my names are not super imaginative, that's okay. And let's see, 1. And so you can see it gives you the pin. And so this is the thing you sort of have to wrap your head around, because for it to be able to assign pin codes mean I have to be within Bluetooth range of the lock. And so, you know, if I want to set it up where it's like the last 4 digits of your phone number or something like that, then that's all well and good, but I need to go and physically visit the lock to do that. So what they do at Igloohome is they have something very interesting called algo pin, and it generates 8-digit pins from anywhere. I don't know exactly what the magic is, but this has given us this pin, and now if we try it, so it's 2975594 and unlock, and it works. Now, of course, I am in Bluetooth range, but I could be across the country and actually set that code up, and it's just a one-time code. So now it's locked and it's done, right? So let's try that code again and see what happens. Let's see, 2 9, I'm not sure that worked. Let's try again. 2, 9, 7, 5, 5, 9, 4, unlock. And now it gives me the flashing red. It doesn't work anymore. How cool is that? A one-time key. And I could have set this up 100 miles away. So that's good. Now let's try doing one more. We're gonna do access and we're gonna do duration. So duration, we're gonna call this 2, because we used 1, right? And it's gonna start on today, May 28th at 7 a.m. and we're gonna end it tomorrow. And we'll end time will be, let's just make it at noon. And again, create pin. And so it's created a pin and it doesn't communicate that with the lock because the lock algorithm, again, already understands how this works. So now I have this pin and I can even share it by tapping on the arrow and I can text it to someone, for example. And we can try this one, but I think you pretty much get the idea that, you know, it's not handy little 2 or 3 or 4 digit pins that you want to use that like are something memorable. This is going to be a random sequence of 8 digits, but that's pretty darn secure. So as I said, you can set up all sorts of different codes. And then one thing I really like about this is that it gives you a log file. Let's go back to the thing. Let's see, and here's the log, and the log file actually shows you when things have been used. Now I have to synchronize it, and it does then want to be near the lock, and that's because it's getting data. The lock itself remembers who used it, or at least what pins used it at what time. So now you can see that I did the third one down. I did the one-time pin code that worked, but then I tried it again and it didn't work. That's cool. And then I just see that I can have created this pin code that has that specific duration. Really nice. I really, really appreciate the way that they've designed the app. Let's go ahead and stop recording. So some of the other neat features that this has is it has auto relock. It has a failed attempt lockout. And one of the things that I really think is interesting is it only actually looks at the last 8 digits. So if you want to, like, you know, if someone's staring at you and you want to put a couple of prefix digits on there or something, that's totally fine. It'll understand and it'll work. And then someone will be like, wow, 14 digits, that's a super secure code. And you're like, well, all the intro digits don't actually count. You obviously aren't going to tell them that. But you can also actually, you know, obviously, if someone's really staring at you, you could change the code. Though if you finally memorize that 8-digit owner code, then that might be annoying. So worth knowing about. It is, of course, completely weatherproof. It's IP66, and it has an operating range of like -20 to +40 or something in centigrade. You want to double check with their site, but it actually is going to be just fine outside in the winter or in the heat of the summer in the sun. Now, it is metal. If it's in the sun, it's going to get crazy hot. Be careful, don't get burned, right? The battery, I'm not gonna open it again, but you saw it's just one of these little tiny CR2 batteries. They last about a year, and the app actually shows you where you are with your battery life, and it will remind you that, you know, you're getting down to 10%, you need to replace the battery. Super easy to do. And here's the thing is that these guys actually did this through an Indiegogo campaign, and it went great. So on Indiegogo, they raised over $300,000 on pre-orders for this. So this is just coming to the market. I'm not sure whether they still need to fulfill all their Indiegogo orders first, but it's pretty nice. The only comment I will make about it is that it's pretty heavy too. It's just about a pound. So that makes it a pretty substantial padlock versus like the cheap ones you're going to find at the Target or the local hardware store. But you're getting a whole lot more smarts for that. And I really think that especially if you have reasons for remote access, it's pretty darn cool. And, you know, yeah, the downside is that you actually get their pin codes as opposed to setting your own. And I always like using pin codes that are things like people's phone numbers so they remember what the number is. But it's awfully easy to send someone the code, again, like a text message or something, and then they can just look at their phone and punch in the numbers slowly. But then if they do it accurately, then boom, it opens up. We already saw that. Super easy to work with. So, only thing to talk about is the price, but before we get to the price, can I ask if you can subscribe? And if you're using any sort of smart padlocks or Bluetooth padlocks, leave me a comment and tell me what you're using and how it works. And I know there are a lot of like super excited lock pickers and lock hackers. And I will tell you that Igloohome and we've had a lot of conversations about how this lock fits in. And what they say is that this is a very secure, very tough lock, but this is not like military grade security, because there's a balance. If you want to get something that's that super monster secure, then you're going to pay a lot of money or it's going to end up being massive. So this is that middle ground, you know, for a school locker, for the shed in the backyard of your house. I think this is going to be just fine for your storage bin. If you have one of those storage lockers in a facility, this is going to work just fine. Someone's not going to spend half an hour trying to get it to open. And they've really thought through all the basics in terms of like access to the battery and all that sort of stuff. And by the way, on the bottom, if you do have it die, then you can always use a 9-volt as like a jump start, like a car you jump start, right? But that doesn't magically open it. You don't just put a 9-volt battery on there and have it open. So you still need the access. So it's not like that gives you an easy way to circumvent or sidestep things. Okay, so this is the Igloohome Bluetooth Padlock, and it will cost you $109. Check it out at igloohome.co, and I'm a big fan. I really like in particular that it has the longer shackle, because for plenty of situations I'd use it for, I want something that gives me a little bit more flexibility than this very small shackle. Super easy to change. Love all the pin codes. I especially love that it logs all the events. That's really good to know, that you can see, it looks like people are trying to hack into my combo lock, right? So cool. Definitely has the coolness factor of being Bluetooth and lighting up and all that sort of stuff. So I say if you're in the market for a smart padlock, this is one you should definitely check out. And with that, I will catch you in my next video.